Let's welcome our first guest, Brittany.
Can we please?
We can. I'm longing to. 5.5 minutes has been too long for us to be chatting away, but we want to. He needs no introduction. We're lucky enough to work with him. He is the broadcasting legend that is Mr. Mike Tirico, with a very handsome Kentucky Derby trophy right over your left shoulder. Mike, good evening.
Nick,
hey,
Brittany,
Mike.
Mark, it's good to see everyone. I don't have the cocktail connecting skills that Mark does, so I've just got a little Woodford Reserve here with a big ice cube because it is Derby week. This is the best I can do on short order. So cheers to all of you.
Cheers to you, Mike.
Nothing wrong with that, Mike. Nothing wrong with that. Cheers.
To good health, to a good hour, and I hope everyone can donate, as Nick was talking about as well. It's bad luck not to drink.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I'll make sure I did that. Yeah, Nick, Britt, this is the actual trophy for this year's Kentucky Derby, and it is engraved with the date May 2nd, 2020 on it. It will be part of the show that we're doing here from our NBC Sports Midwest Bureau, which is also known as the other side of the desk in my home office. We'll be doing a show on Saturday with Jerry Bailey and Randy Moss, and we'll be going back and reliving American Pharoah, starting the Triple Crown run with leg one at the Derby of 2015. It was a great day. It was a wonderful race and the start of history. So we'll go back and retrace that and also freshen things up, talking about the Arkansas Derby, as you all were, and where we are in horse racing right now. And we'll fill the first Saturday in May with hopes that we can break out Brittany's new hats and everything else for the first Saturday in September, 4 months away.
I've got nothing, no hats, but what's the security detail looking like with that piece of hardware in your house?
I've got the white gloves. So Nick, I don't know if there's a second purpose for these, perhaps, in these times.
You're a resourceful man, Mike, if nothing else. So you can double up your security gloves with your COVID gloves, and you're well sorted for the next few weeks. How's it been broadcasting from home for the last 4 or 5 weeks?
It has been bizarrely odd. Here's the good news. I'm on my third wardrobe change of the day. I had to do our show this morning, actually fourth. I do our show this morning. I had to do 2 different Zoom calls this afternoon and this tonight. So I figured I'll keep changing jackets because I haven't worn things. It's making me shower every day, which is very fabulous. So
this is good hygiene.
Yeah, I'd say I'm above the average of most Americans on showers per week. I've shaved 4 times a week, so that I'd also say is probably more than most, certainly more than you, Mark. Is that a regular deal for you, or is this a COVID only?
This is a COVID only. You know, I work at the 21 Club, and we have a strict no facial hair policy. So this is only in the case of lockdowns and bizarre circumstances. But I'm enjoying it while I can, and then it will be disappearing as soon as I return to work. So,
well, I feel like that's a trend right now. Yeah, I've seen everybody with the beards. But Mike, I apologize. I did not change a second time for you. You saw me in the same clothes this morning.
This is the way
Mike, you're going to be ready
on our show today.
You're going to be ready to host the Grammys with those wardrobe changes.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of went over, change wardrobe. I should, every segment of the show one of these days, just change and see if anybody notices. That'll tell us if no one is actually watching. But it has been, I will say this, this all goes without saying. We're trying to laugh and have some fun. We know what's real. We know what's important. We know that our healthcare workers, not just here, the NHS, where you are, Nick, how they are the real heroes, the people who are keeping supplies going and all those things that we may have taken for granted. Teachers who are far more appreciated now as everyone tries to homeschool a little bit. All of those folks. We know what's really important right now, but I will say that this opportunity to do some different things and to be busy 5 days a week and have conversation with everyone from the president of the NCAA to Adam Wainwright, a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, to Brittany within a half hour is just cool. And we don't normally get a chance to do this. So as a sports geek like me, this has been an absolute blast to do, albeit a substitute for what we really want to be doing right now.
Mike, how have you seen people, companies pivot in a time like this? Because many aren't used to doing things either on social media or from your home. How quickly did you see your group, your team, and others pivot to the new circumstances we're under?
Our NBC group was amazing, Brittany. You're all experiencing that, doing the TVG shows, the Trackside Live that simulcast on NBC the last few weekends. You've seen how that's working with everyone working remotely, yet The broadcasts are as smooth as you could ever imagine, given the circumstances. Same here. You know, we slapped together a show when the Olympics were postponed to try to hear from Olympians, and it went so well that we said, well, maybe we can do this a little more often, and it's turned into an everyday show on NBCSN. I think we're all finding appreciation for the things we have in life that we take for granted. We're finding an internal resiliency that maybe we forgot we had from our younger days, but we're finding ways to get things done. And I think as a country, we're all pulling together. We're getting resources like the auto plants and their manufacturing lines have turned into producing PPE. There was a great 60-minute story on how GM and Ford are producing ventilators just like this. In a month's time, they've turned this around. We're all finding that spirit within that technology maybe has allowed us to take for granted, but now we're digging in and holding on. And the other thing that's been great, and I don't know what you all are experiencing, but being home. We've got kids who are college age and the end of high school, and we're all sitting around the dinner table having dinners that we wouldn't be having because one's at college, one's off to high school practice. I'm off at the Derby with you all knuckleheads. My wife's got some of the things that she's involved with in the community. Instead, every night we're around the house having a good time, which is a lot better than listening to Ed Olczyk's stories for the 8th or 9th time that he doesn't realize he's telling for the 8th or 9th time. But it's a great
celebrating somebody's birthday when it's not.
You know, you should, by the way, everybody should wish Enzo a happy birthday when he gets on because it is his birthday. No, it's not.
Oh,
Nearly.
How did I miss that?
Mike, just in terms of what should be happening this week, the Kentucky Derby, you've hosted just about every great sporting event there is to host. Where does it rank for you in the few years that you've been hosting the Derby?
Well, there's the power of the Derby, Nick. I would never be sipping on a little bit of Woodford Reserve here on a show at 6 o'clock at night. But I did, and immediately Mark and Brittany went for their drinks, which just shows you the power of the Derby. It's a party that everybody wants to be a part of, right? It's a couple of things. It's an unbelievable sporting event. It brings together so many different people. The people who are in the infield would never have a conversation with the people who are on Millionaires Row where you like to hang out, Nick. But together, and you saw both sides of it as you've covered the Derby with us, they're all there for the same thing, brought together by one event. And especially now, in a time where we have no idea when we're going to all come together in a place like that or in numbers like that, you look back at it with great appreciation, and now you understand why it's so special. And I did start to peek through my phone the other day because I'm thinking about Saturday afternoon around 6 o'clock, and we've been on the air for 3.5, 4 hours, whatever it is, and closer to 7 than 6 actually. And the horses, as they leave the starting gate, Larry Coleman says they're off in the Kentucky Derby, and he just brings a smile to your face when you hear that. And then here they come, 20 strong around that sweeping first turn. And where our set is, and Brittany and Nick, you guys know this, where our set is, they're coming right at you. And every year that I've done the Derby, I take that picture of the horses coming around in the first turn, framed by the Twin Spires and all those fans. And I'm going to be really sad on Saturday that we don't get to experience that because it's one of the great moments in sports. Because in a minute and 35 later, there's going to be a horse that's talked about forever. The Kentucky Derby winner every year is mentioned when the next Derby comes by. And the people who know this sport can reel them off like this. And some horse is going to have that moment in about 90 seconds, all the human connections. I'm going to miss that so much. And all of that wrapped up in one thing, that's what American events are about, Nick. And it's going to stink not having it this Saturday. But like you said before, Britt, hopefully that first Saturday in September is going to bring us all of that one more time.
Absolutely. You can hear it in your voice and the way that you talk about it, that you're a fan. I was so blown away when I first met you, and you had said that you had TVG on your TV in your office, and that's how you prep. Do you enjoy the process as much?
That TV there where Ari Melber is now live on MSNBC. We have Brittany Yerton in that TV. Yeah, as we were getting ready for the Derby, and I started doing this. I just wanted to really connect for the first time with the sport and with the people who are about the sport. And it's hard not to love, especially when you can throw a couple of bucks in there and figure it out. And it really started for me pre-Derby when I had the chance to host the Breeders' Cup the year before that. And just to see it in person and be this close to the best in any sport, if you love competition, you love games, you can't help but be filled with adrenaline when you think about it and talk about it. So I'm excited to get back to it. And this weekend's going to be fun. I'm going to tell you, this show's Saturday, 3 to 6. Rob Hyland, our executive producer, Lizzie Shanzer, the rest of our team, they've put together a great 3 hours that's not just put the tape in and let's go back and watch American Pharaoh. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think you're all going to love. So I hope you folks, if you're around Saturday afternoon before watching the Arkansas Derby, can join us for that on NBC.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
I can't wait. Mike, thanks so much. What you've got a little tipple on the go now, you were saying to us. Are you a cocktail man as a rule? I'm
not. I'm really not. I am a beer and wine guy at dinner usually, and that's usually where I stop. But because of the Derby, it's when in Rome, and I've started to really enjoy bourbon. So, Mark, I'm going to go back and watch the prior episodes. I want to take some notes. I want to be able to walk downstairs and impress my guests with, if we ever have guests again, I want to impress them.
Eventually, Mike.
Hey, you know 21 Club in New York? Well, the best bartender there, he taught me how to do this. If I can just drop that conversation, then I'll feel like I know what I'm doing.
And if I can say that Mike Tirico said that about me, then I can drop that in conversations too. So
I mean, it's not true, but it sounds great. Mike.
And honestly, Nick, you're British, so isn't that the whole key? What you say may not mean a damn thing, but how it sounds translates to the quality to the way people hear it.
I knew I knew I'd get busted one day. I've been waiting about 12 and a half years, and it's taken a legend of